Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Don Jo number AST-21386-SL. This is a security strike, is what this is. This is a large, long piece of steel that has been turned into a strike plate that you would use very likely in a wood door, wood frame, most certainly, not absolutely, but very likely. And this has particular dimensional properties, which we'll go over in a moment. And what a strike like this is used for, assuming you have a wood door and a wood frame, and very likely an 1 3/8" thick wood door, is that you have a wood frame and it has either some damage or a break-in has been attempted, or you simply want to reinforce the frame by using a longer piece of steel to act as a strike plate, which you can sink deep via the screws that are included back into the studs that come with it, the screws, that is. I also have had people order these just for the sake of installing them, knowing up front that they're going to expect a lot of use, a lot of applications where you're going to have a requirement to reinforce that frame sooner or later, most certainly. So let's take some dimensional properties of this item. Overall length is 18 inch. Let's check the width of the item as well. Now the width they give us is 1 3/8. Now there's nowhere around here that it's 1 3/8. This is actually 1 7/8. What they're coming up with on that 1 3/8 is that this is for an 1 3/8 door. So we know the overall width, we know the length, which we just took. Okay, wow. Okay, we're going to get it. 18 inch. Now the other dimension is, what's the lip length of the strike? And that dimension is always measured from the center of the screw hole to the edge of the lip. It's about 15/16 on this, which is typical and normal for this sort of strike when you're dealing with an 1 3/8 door. You'll notice that there are 6 holes. There are 4 on this edge, then there are 2 in the center, and the 2 in the center have a larger countersink. Might be difficult to tell on camera, but they are indeed larger. That one's larger than that one. That's because you get 2 different screw sizes, and each of those 2 are different lengths. We've got 2 short screws. Those are 1 inch, and I'd say they're a number 12. And we've got 4 longer screws that are probably a number 10 and 3 inch in length. And that's because the 2 short screws will go here and here. The 4 longer screws will go out towards the face of the stop. Now, why are there 2 different length screws? Well, that's important. And let's switch to the camera view right now and take a look and see why that's the case. Pardon me, the screen view. Let's switch to the screen view. Okay, so here is the item that we are looking at. Okay, product brochure template, but first we're going to talk about why that strike is the way that it is. And let's take a look at that now. So let's imagine here that we have a single rabbet frame. Okay, your door is going to obviously sit in here. It's going to swing out this way. You're going to have your typical sort of stud construction. Well, let's draw our strike first. Okay, here's your strike. You're going to have a couple of screws that are going to go here. Those are going to be the long ones. And then those 2 screws in the center will be right about here. Well, in typical sort of construction, you're going to have a couple of studs. And the reason for those longer screws is so that the longer screws will actually hit a stud. The shorter screws certainly won't, and they're too long. They're too short anyway. They're 1 inch. So this is going to pierce quite. The 4 longer screws are meant to go into those studs, and are going to pierce quite completely down and through there. It's actually probably a bit closer to here, and then your latch, of course, comes here. Okay, so that's why you've got those longer screws, so that you can hit some solid wood behind what is likely just 3/4 inch jamb thickness. Okay, now there are 2 holes in the strike itself, and the way that this strike is set up, is that the center to center, they're saying, can be for 5.5 or 6 inch. And that's because the overall height of these preparations is a little bit taller than would be required for latch bolts and deadbolts. But they make them, they elongate them to accommodate a 5.5 or a 6 inch center to center on your door prep. Let's take our part number and copy that, and then pull up the product catalog that's here, and then paste that, or find function, AST21386, and you'll find the page where those security strikes are. Okay, 5.5 and 6 inch, AST21386, 18 by inch and 3/8. That's door thickness, what they're talking about. But you can see in the column of the other strikes that are available, the 21346, that'll be for an 1 3/4 thick door, and probably more common. Then you've got the FL212N6, which is a 12 inch, and a W6, which is a 12 inch for 1 3/8, and then 12 inch for 1 3/4. So same option, just 12 inch long. I don't understand their naming logic of their part numbers at all. I can't make out a pattern to it. But nonetheless, here's your table. So you've got a single hole, 2 holes for 3 5/8 and 4 inch, 2 holes for 5.5 and 6, and then you've got a style that has 1 long hole, which is about 3.5 inch. 8, 12, 18 inch lengths are available in this material. Now the balance of this catalog is very handy because it will allow you to review all things strike plate related from this manufacturer, who most definitely offers a comprehensive line of strike plates, both standard naturally, but mostly customized. Extended lip strikes are here. Obviously those security strikes we talked about just a moment ago on this table. Security strikes for other applications such as the deadbolt, the BX-2-SDS, very typical kind of strike to sell for a security application. Adjustable strikes, thimble strikes for hollow metal frames when you're only able to drill a 1 inch hole, and then of course they'll be able to make for us custom strikes as well. So if you have basically a sketch of what you need, they will certainly entertain quoting that material. Now also on that page is a link to the template, and the template is obviously a technical drawing of the item showing us where all of the locations for the screws lie. In the upper right hand corner it tells us that it is 13 gauge or .095. My caliper tells me that it is .091. So there you go, .091. They list BP as the finish, brass plated, but this is the SL for silver coated, and I'm sure they can do this in white and black powder coat finish. Oh, dark bronze as well, I'm sure they can do it in. This document's just out of date, I suppose. Certainly, it's almost 20 years old, or at least 16 years. Now, there's a link here to the manufacturer's page. Before we get to that extended description information, doesn't say anything new that we've not already covered. So let's just go to the manufacturer's page, from where you'll be able to review not only all of the Don Jo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to their full product catalog, and that full product catalog broken down into its individual subcomponents. And if you know the name Don Jo at all, you will for their wraparound plates and their latch protectors. Let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, the name Don Jo is a name synonymous with good quality products, very good quality people, customer service-wise, tech support, every facet. Pretty prompt, reliable, predictable shipping lead times as well. And in the rare instance that they make an error, they make it good pretty immediately and almost always pain-free. So we do appreciate that. Typical sort of strike. Now again, you'll use this because you have some damage that you want to mitigate. You might have this, you might have a problem where someone's broken in, or there's been an attempt at break-in or damage. And you might be able to take that damaged wood frame and chisel all the damaged part away and install something like this while it's a large piece of equipment. When the door is closed, you're really not going to see it. And it will serve to substantially reinforce the installation of what you're doing. Before something like that happens, as I likely said earlier, I've had clients order these Clients tell me, yeah, they're building a whole bunch of houses, and all the garage doors are going in, and they want to order these security strikes. And I say, well, you've got new doors and frames. Why are you ordering these sort of remodeler strikes? They're like, believe me, someone's going to try to break in eventually. So they put these on right from the get-go, is the bottom line. And that's how that is. If you have any questions on the Don Jo, this is their part number AST 21386 in an SL finish, or any other Don Jo product. Please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.